Good morning. Today we're going to install some vinyl plank flooring. I've never done this before, so I'm sure I'm going to make some mistakes, and I'll let you know what those are so you don't have to repeat them. The product we're using today is, I do not know how to pronounce this, Karndean Van Gogh. Um, it's kind of a black. These pieces are about 7 inches wide, 7 and 1/16. I did already put down the underlayment, which I decided to do. This is a concrete floor. It says you don't need it, but I thought it would be nice to have a little extra insulation underneath that floor. So I'm going to get started, show you what tools you need, and be right back. So I'm rolling out the underlayment. Going pretty good. Goes pretty easily. It has this adhesive vapor barrier, seam barrier that comes with it. I bought seam tape because I didn't know it had it on it already, but I will be using that for some of the smaller pieces that I have to fit in. So the only thing to kind of keep in mind is just get it rolled out nice and straight. Line up your seams, roll this back, put your next roll in, and then off you go. So one thing to keep in mind when you're cutting this is just like you do with carpet, roll when you roll the roll out and then roll a little bit more than you actually need. And then I'm just cutting it with scissors, and then I'll roll this in, and I'll take a utility knife and cut this final seam so it's nice and tight. So I kind of messed up the first round, and what I found is that on this final piece that you put in, you're going to have to cut it. So the best thing to do is go ahead and lay your piece out and then make this seam up, this final seam, and then come back in here, leave that long, and then trim around your doors and molding. Also, this is a little bit tough to cut when you're trying to trim around doorways and stuff with a utility knife. So have a pair of scissors on hand to help you out with that. Just finished with the underlayment. It went pretty easy. This last piece definitely takes the most time. It's just a little bit tedious to do, but still not too bad. And probably took about an hour and a half total for this 17 by 15 foot room. On to the flooring. So one other thing is you want to mix the boxes because the boxes are all very similar. So I have boxes opened all over the place. You want to do a random selection because otherwise they'll end up all kind of being the same pattern and same color. And then be sure and do, when you're starting a row, you want staggered joints. So do just kind of random pattern, like cut 8 inches off, cut 20 inches off, whatever, to make it staggered. Because even when you try and do just keep them offset, split in the middle, it doesn't look that good. You want a random pattern. So this is proving to be a little bit more challenging than I thought it was going to be. What I heard was this was supposed to all click together real easily. When I was getting started, it just didn't seem to make sense. Like it was not going together. I called the company. They told me, yeah, you just click it and do this and that. That wasn't working either. So I called my buddy Eric in Alaska, who's a floor installer, and he gave me a couple tips. He said, it doesn't go together without some manipulation and some finesse. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what I'm talking about. So here we go. I'm using this product, Karndean. This is the 2G. So there's 3 different types. They all have a different way they click together. So you want to get the end piece hooked up first, and then you go down and slide the long edge in. And you do this all at an angle, and then get it nice and tight. And it's gonna be bowed up like this, which totally confused me to begin with. So Eric said you gotta kind of beat it into place a little bit. So I just took this scrap piece and I took you want to line up the tongue with the right edge, and then you just kind of tap it. Let me start with this one. And then you can see it falls down and locks into place. So that's how you do that. Also, one thing I figured out, when you cut this stuff, it's really easy to cut. And you just score it. I was scoring it multiple times like you do with drywall. And what I would find that it was really hard to keep that edge. So I would veer off and then I would get kind of an ugly cut. I would recommend just doing one hard cut with a square and then breaking it, and that has worked a lot better. So like I was saying, just score this one time with the utility knife. What's been easy is to come and mark on the tongue part so I can see it, because I can't see the mark on this black floor. So line it up and then just do one pass. That's it. Flooring's all finished. Took me a couple days to get it done. Came out really nicely. Once you get the hang of it, that first row is pretty challenging. Well, really the second row. The first row is easy. Getting the second one to connect up, because it just moves around so much. But then once I got the hang of it, it started going really smoothly. It's more of a finesse game to try and get them to link up than they really let you know in the directions. This last row took some time, because you got to cut all these pieces and get them to link up without being able to kind of beat them together. I just used a pry bar and pushed against the wall, and then pushed them into place, and then they'll lay flat. So that's it. Hopefully you found that video helpful, and we'll see you on the next project.